Okay, I gotta look for that.
It's
Good
great.
evening. Love and Enlightenment crew is here. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Evening blessings and salutations. And how is everyone doing tonight?
Everyone is doing good.
Wonderful.
Yes, thank God, thank God. Today was a hot day. So,
G Pinky, why don't you share with us what made it so hot?
The
Was it
sun.
an encounter, or was it just the climate? I mean,
Oh my God! My first reaction was the sun.
I don't think it's the sun. Sun is always hot. We know that. Tell us, Pinky. Do tell, please.
it was just a hot day. I had a lot to do, some yard walk in the heat.
Oh,
So no, Janos, there was no hotness. There was no heat besides the sun and the climate and the temperature. Thank you, Janos. Thank you. So,
okay.
how about you, Janos? How is your life going? Your romantic life, since you're always trying to get into mine.
Okay. So we talked about last week about um, having addictions.
Uh-huh.
I have an addiction. I just can't say the
Look at
name.
all of our faces like, what?
That's how you telling it like I got an addiction. So but you ain't sharing it. So why? What's
That's all you're going. That's all you're going to get.
Yeah,
That's
but
all you're going to get. So
actually that
Debbie,
night, last week, there was a question, what is your addiction?
yeah, and I came on and said I'm not allowed to say her name.
Oh, Jesus.
So your addiction is somebody.
And I'm sure she's looking right now. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, God.
Lick the camera, why don't you? Just lick the camera,
Okay,
Janos.
Pinky, you're being extra. So
Anyway, so what post that did you guys see any posts? Did y'all want to discuss any posts?
yep.
Okay.
Oh, me? No,
Yeah.
Debbie had a dope post talking about harmony in relationship.
About
Remember that one?
harmony in relationships.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Debbie posted that. That
I
was
don't remember. I've been
it was
posting
eloquent. It was eloquent.
Okay, well, we don't know what you're talking about, so share.
So
I
they
got
asked her. I'm gonna read it. They asked her,
Mhm.
"How do you build harmony in a relationship?"
Mhm.
And she answered, "You both have to be serious about your healing and open to growth. When tension arises, you focus on understanding each other's perspective instead of trying to win. As your self-awareness expands, it will make it easier to find a middle path that you both feel good about. Harmony blossoms when your primary intention is love, not control."
Karen, I feel the same way. I was like, he turned it into poetry. He turned it into a little skit, a little drama. Like honestly,
Young Pueblo.
And it's almost like
Material love.
going into a little sensuality. I don't want to say the P word, but like where he going with this?
What
Like
is wrong with
You
this
see this?
man?
You see this? You see this?
Extra.
The nagging? Open. Just open. Open and receive.
So that touched you.
No, I'm just saying it was nice. I mean, I like actually the last part is what really resonated.
I
Harmony
lost you
blossoms.
because you had too much drama. I just tuned you out after a minute. I don't even know what the
Well,
thing said.
don't worry about that.
There was too much drama.
No problem.
so
I expect you
so
to.
the question was talking about how do you build harmony in a relationship?
Right, but I like the last part where the last where it says harmony blossoms when the primary intention is love, not control. I like that. That is what I like.
Should harmony be built or should it
Harmony
already
harmony
exist?
can only be built.
Or it can only be built in a
How
relationship.
else would you bring harmony in a relationship? That's
It's-
something that's brought together.
If two people have harmony, then it becomes one. Because you could have harmony and I could not have harmony.
So there would be no harmony.
There wouldn't be harmony.
Yeah, but you have to if you're gonna be in a relationship, there needs to be a balance. Harmony is the balance. That's the balance. You got to create that. You have to build that.
harmony is balance, right? Yeah, but
Right.
it's like Karen said. I mean, harmony is like you look at a relationship like you look like music. Like the notes have to go together. If the notes
You
don't go
have to
together,
be you have to be your yin to his yang.
okay, buddy. You have to be. I say
This okay, let me read the definition of harmony. The combination of simultaneously sounded musical notes. So that means it has to exist in order for it to coexist.
Well, if it don't exist, go back to the drawing board. That's all I could tell you.
So you can't come into the relationship with the intention to build something that doesn't already exist. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Because I
Because you
think
got to
part
find the path. So it talks about
exactly
finding.
the
It
word
talks about,
building.
it talks
The
about
word
finding. But you got to. It talks about finding the path where you two together find that harmony for
or
yourself.
the
You may
both.
have your own. So you got your own music. They have their own music, and you come together. You make beautiful music,
All right, I got you.
right?
Mhm.
no, I
Pinky
don't get you.
said-
It's-
I know, Pinky.
it-
Pinky, there is hope.
Yes.
Pinky, there is hope for you. I try to pray. There's hope for you. One of these days. One of these days.
Yeah, because if you come in with one music and I come in with one music, let me tell you, that could be a lot of noise. Okay.
Pinky,
So-
Pinky. We have to affirm that it is a possibility. We cannot live in doubt. We cannot live in negativity because that is what we're going to attract. So if Louis saying for him, this is what harmony is, because again, everything is person's perception.
Self-perception.
Right. It's because what might be harmonious to him might not be harmonious to somebody else. But when two people come together, it isn't supposed to be the core that they work together to build together, to encourage each other together. But and we'll go into this, but I'm really like paying attention. Like we have let our hurts control our future. And we
Yeah.
have to stop that.
Okay, but let me say this. I hear what you said. But this is not negative. This is just seeing things from a different perspective.
Respectfully.
That's number one. Number two, harmony is like when you're cooking. It's like making music. I agree with Karen. You don't build harmony. You have to be harmonious. You have to bring that to the relationship. Now,
You go. Well, let me
It's the
change that.
component of
You
that
can build
new
it.
relationship that you need to bring the harmony. You come in with harmony. You
You're
are a
coming with
harmonious
harmony.
individual.
That's why I want to say
Yes.
you come. But
And
sometimes
but
people
you-
go into a
but the-
relationship with the intention
you
of
want to-
finding something that they don't possess within themselves. That's what I'm trying to get at.
and that's
You
what I'm
come
getting
with the
at.
harmony, and like you said, Louis, as you join those two harmonious tunes like
Components.
music, then you build upon what you already have. Like you build upon what already exists, and it becomes your music. Like you come with calypso and he come with rap, and then you make a song. You understand? But what I'm thinking, the reason why I asked the question is because some people will come into the relationship looking for peace, but peace doesn't exist within themselves, or they're looking for harmony, but harmony is a form of peace, and it doesn't exist. They're rah-rah. They love to argue and bicker, but they want to live in peace. You have to, like, I read something the other day that people say you attract what you are, but even though you may attract it, you don't have to entertain it. Because sometimes we would attract people because we're peaceful and that's what they're looking for. We would attract these people that's looking for peace because they want to identify with it. But if we know they're rah-rah, we don't have to entertain, because sometimes it's so embedded in them because they haven't solved their unharmonious issues. It's going to come out.
Well, like Dr.
And they seek you out too to create that balance within their lives. And if we're not careful, because I was never fit, I was never done. If we're not careful, we go into these relationships trying to control situations. And that control was in that thing you read. And that's what I was talking about. Harmony, balance, all these things And when you come in a relationship, it's just like cooking. You find a balance. Yes, it's just like me. You find a balance. It's like dancing. You find a balance. You find how you and the person will dance harmoniously together, but not with force or control. So the word build was what threw me off. It's a walking together. It's a song. It's a music.
Well,
It's
that's
harmony.
that's what you do in relationships. You build. You work together to achieve a common goal.
Oh,
So
Archie.
that's where the building comes in.
Okay.
And Dr. Reynolds last week, not last week, the week before, had said that again, the healthier you are coming into a relationship, the quicker you're able to see if you and that person don't jive when it comes to those kind of characteristics. You can see it quicker and you can move on to the next.
And you best believe
Go ahead.
that the time that you've invested into building this harmonious relationship, you're going to defend that at any cost for any type of return or anybody trying to break that. You will invest and you will protect.
You ready to you see?
No, I don't got understand. Yeah, was yeah.
This conversation.
The language sometimes is what will throw us off. It's just the language. We speak two different languages, so that's that's okay.
This conversation is exactly why relationships struggle.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Who's that?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Yeah.
AC.
Yeah. We don't allow and we don't listen and we don't hear and we always defend.
Yeah.
And so that is the reason a lot of time why but we all have a voice and we all should be allowed to speak and we all should be allowed to be heard and we all should just be harmonious.
It's interesting that you say that because it's true. Most people do not listen with the intent to understand. They listen with the intent to reply.
To react.
I think, and I think sometimes when somebody's speaking, you either need to ask them to explain it again, or you need to repeat it, or we just need to sit in silence and take it in. Because I think that when we do that quick response kind of thing, we're not giving ourselves, our minds, enough time to really digest what somebody is saying. And that's just something I know I'm working on.
Who said really Pinky? Let Louis do your thing. Thank you.
Were there any other posts that you guys saw this week that resonated with you? I've been trying to make a lot more.
I haven't been on much.
Posts in there.
I was only able to post on the mango one. I think mango win.
It did win. I was really impressed of how many people picked mango.
I would eat myself into a coma with mango. Like, I know mango is not a fruit that I should be eating on a regular, but it's something I would take medication and eat. Like, I just love mango. I love it. Like, right now I got 3 in my kitchen. There's so many things. I just found this. I usually stew my strawberries. So during the summertime, you can get some nice strawberries. So when I buy a bunch, I would just put it in a pot, put a little bit of agave on it, and just stew it. And I use it for everything. I just eat it as a snack. Put it on my. I don't use syrup on my pancake and stuff. And I did one with some mango. Oh my God! And it's simple. A cinnamon stick in a pot, no water, and you put a little agave on it. Heaven! I just love mango. Mango is just.
That was the number one. Louis, you didn't answer that question. What is your all-time favorite food that you can live without?
All-time favorite food?
Fruit.
Grapes.
Yeah,
I like frozen grapes. I like frozen grapes. I like when you buy the grapes.
Frozen grapes are amazing. My sister turned me on to
frozen grapes. So that's
a few years
back.
That
was from a child. My grandfather. I got it from my grandfather. Rest in peace. So I've been doing grapes from
grapes? green grapes. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
green seedless. Yeah,
I like the green.
any seedless grapes, truly.
Pinky, you had to answer it.
No, I didn't, because I don't know what fruit I could not live without. So
Grapes
I
and
didn't.
kiwi fruit.
I like a lot of fruit, so I was like, I couldn't come up with one that I couldn't live without.
Yeah, I like JoJo too. I mean, not JoJo. I like JoJo, but I had like plum too. But I've had some traumatizing experiences with plum. You know, like when you were kids, you were just shoving them in your mouth like nothing, and then as you get older, you like start to look at it when you.
I'm waiting for cherry season because I don't buy them by the pound. Like you go to the farmer's market here and their cherries, I don't know if God pick him himself and put them in a bucket to sell, but I just spent some good money on cherries.
By the way, Debbie, I just somebody actually told me that the show that we did last week was hella dope. It was fun, and we need to do more of those shows.
Yeah,
We need to do some more of those. Those are crazy fun.
We're gonna do some more. Oh God, Randy. That's Randy who wrote that. Okay. Well, we're gonna have a couple other people join us later, but the conversation tonight is centered around and again, well, I'll go there, but why does it seem that so many people are more focused on a companion or having companionship versus having a relationship? And I see that to be true a lot more as people get older, as people have had relationship hurt. We're saying that we want a companion, but we don't want a relationship because we don't want to necessarily invest in a relationship. Let me just kind of like, because I saw I had put up a post and some people had written different things in the comment. And of course, companionship is a component of a relationship. But based on the definitions, companionship is a state of spending time with someone or having someone to spend time with. They gave an example. A companion is a person who frequently spends time with you, associates with you, or accompanies you when you go places. A relationship is a connection, association, or involvement between persons, blood or marriage or a bond. It's an emotional connection between people, and it usually has a sexual component. And
Are you hearing a noise?
That's streaming out again.
That's it.
I gotta be streaming out. Is that what it is?
I have no clue. I'm not hearing it now, but I was hearing it a little while ago.
So should we mute our mics?
Is it almost like an echo?
Yeah. No, now it stopped. I'm not hearing it. So, so my question to the group was, why does it seem like people are making the choice to have a companion and not willing to invest in a relationship?
I think the accessibility and the convenience of a companionship. I think there's so many people that have a fear factor of commitment. And that's because some people still walk around with the baggage of the very last relationship. And instead of using it as a guiding tool of what not to do, take the lesson from it and move forward, we spend more time protecting what may happen. So just the mindset of the commitment of a relationship, and you and somebody just kicking it, and there's no commitment. It makes it, it's somebody just say it's left work. And I can see it. But do you eventually want it? No. I don't think everybody wants it. Most people's desire is to have that relationship, but it just has so much work and so much disappointment. Like your most valuable or the highest reward always comes with the biggest payout. And that's where I see relationships. Like you really got to put into it, and then you start taking everything, all this work into it for this person to turn out to be Bozo the clown, But if we just kicking it, no strings attached, if it doesn't happen, you go your way, I go my way. Sarah. But the work that it takes to have a healthy, committed relationship, people just tired. Some people just tired and ain't even see the work. But I don't think we ultimately want that as our end game. I know I do.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Llanos?
I Karen said she had a lot of good points. But what she said sounds like hookup culture 3.0, just like on the next level. You know what I mean? Because hookup culture, we know, is a quick thing. Companionship is something that you care, but you like this person, so you want to spend more time with them. I think, but it's still just a hookup. It's just for convenience. It's based on convenience. When you get into relationships, it becomes a relationship rather when you give it meaning. That's when it becomes a relationship. When you put meaning, when you have emotional attachment and components involved, that's now you're dealing, because now you invest in, like you said, you invest in time into that, and now it becomes special. Do people want to do it? I think some people do. I would actually like to hear from younger folks what their take is on that, because I don't think if people our age, I think like older folks, I don't know if they're some people probably just want to have somebody next to them and don't want to go through all the ins and outs of interrelationships. You just want somebody there that could be for you. But I think younger folks might be more into the relationship thing. But it'll be interesting to hear what someone younger that would say. But that's my take on it. I think, with a relationship, what turns a companionship into a relationship is when you bring you attachment and meaning to that. Yeah.
And I'll ask another question, but go ahead, Pinky.
I agree with Miss Green. I think her name is Green.
Yeah, Karita.
I think what has happened, especially at this age, and not only at our age, but the younger generation, seeing what has happened from our relationships, they are avoiding relationships because of their fear of relationships not being healthy. Based on our experiences at this age in life, yeah, we bring in baggages. There is no doubt we bring in baggage. We cannot not bring baggage at this age. We got divorced. We widowed or we are widows or widowers. We been in bad relationships. We've been in good relationships that didn't last. It couldn't have last, because if it were last, you wouldn't be looking for another relationship, right? And I think the problem is we don't tell these stories like, I'm looking for peace, or not realizing that relationship takes work, it takes sacrifice, it takes understanding, and it do take a commitment. Whereas a companionship, there is no commitment, there is no walk. We don't need to get along, because if we don't get along, we could just go on to the next. I think a problem also is that we live in a time where we could have so many companions that we get to now choose. Because if I could be online or I could be talking, most people these days talking to multiple people. So people gonna get friend zoned. That's just gonna happen. Because you could meet somebody today and you could meet somebody tomorrow, and I like this person better and this person. So there is no need to stay committed. There's no need to keep your eyes or your heart or your intentions towards one person unless you make that decision. So when you got variety, well, guess what? I could eat McDonald's today, I could eat Burger King tomorrow, I could eat, let me just stay friend zone. Friends with benefits maybe, because deep down, we ain't looking for companionship yet. We ain't reached that age where we just want to have companion. So then the companionship, they're now moving to situationships, right? Friends with benefits, whatever we want to call it, because you're looking for more. But the commitment part, the final part, where I have to commit, where I have to make sacrifice, where we have to work together, where we have to find harmony, balance, we got to walk together. That's the part people are not willing to invest in. But to believe that you're going to come in a relationship at this age without any baggage, it's a farce. It's not true. And if you know me and I know you and we want to make it work, we will walk through our differences. If we're willing, but if we're not willing, because it's no way at these middle ages, you know, and we have to work. And that's another thing. We are not willing to do the work because even healing requires work. Everything requires work. Everything is going to ask you to put some extra effort in there. It's like Karen said earlier, and I can't remember the quote. If you want something and if you're going to have a big benefit, you're going to have to put in the work, and you're going to put in a lot of work too. It's not that easy. So a lot of times we are choosing to give up and we're choosing companionship. But I'm going to say this, in order to have a good relationship, you do have to have that first stage. You can't go from single to relationship. You got to go from single to companionship. You got to find that friend, that person that you're willing to invest in the long haul. You got to start at that ground with friendship. So a lot of times, and what's causing a lot of stuff to fail is people going from singlehood into let's start a relationship. So we jump over the friendship and we go into the relationship, and then you get to know the person, and then you realize you don't even like the person because you never did that first stage.
What if we don't look at it as two separate entities? Like one of the guests was saying, why don't if we're looking at it as two separate entities, like companionship is one thing and relationship is another thing. Pinky brought a good point. It's phases. Like it's almost like for me personally, before I love you, I want to like you. I want to enjoy you in my space. I want to know you belongs in my space, and we could zing like before we get a relationship. You want somebody that will go hiking with you, that would, help you cross your greatest fears, somebody that can travel this life with you as a friend, as somebody that you enjoy being with them. Like, I don't see it as two separate entities. I see it as a journey, as it's not like an either or, like either we have a companionship, a situationship, or a friendship. I think if we can enjoy being in each other's company, like goes back to the harmony. If we sing together, if we can come together and we can become one and enjoy certain things together, then it shouldn't be separated. I can't remember her name, but she said, I'll read what she said. She said, there's a lot of relationship that lack companionship. Like, do we really like that person when the love settles and it's no longer the honeymoon period? Some relationship lack that favorite buddy to experience life with. To me, that is companionship within a relationship. That lover who would go for a drive with me, live concert and movies. And I think if we look at it from a different perspective, as it not being either or, and it being something that is a part of the journey, like, like the end of your relationship, you want somebody to sit on the rocking chair and drink lemonade with you and just laugh about good times. Can you do that with somebody that you're in a relationship with?
But I want to add to what Green said, and you, Karen, because we're missing a major component, which is, can we talk to each other? Can we understand each other? We could party, we could hang out, we could do, but do we understand each other languages? We call it love languages. Can we talk and have conversation together? Because that is a major part of any relationship. If you can't talk to this person, if you can't have conversation, if they don't understand where you coming from, you don't understand where they coming from. We could go to all the concerts, we could do all of that. But that major component of having dialogue and enjoying the dialogue.
But that would be an ingredient. That would be an ingredient, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, to add with the concerts and the movies and that.
Yeah, that would be an ingredient. That would be a component of a companionship. Because before you to even classify it as a companionship, all of that is like, before you can call it a cake, it has to have the eggs and
my mic was muted.
And all those different ingredients. So those are the ingredients of establishing a companionship. Like, everything comes with its own components. But like you said, that's a part. So before you even classify it or determine what it is, it has to have that. You have to be able to talk to this person for hours and laugh and have your conversation flow for you to even be within their company.
Right. And that's what I was saying. My mic was muted, but I was saying, I hope that happens in the beginning. You have that's part of that early process.
Part of the
those conversations, those 3-4 hour conversations, the laughing and the getting together and hanging out. that has to happen early up, or else there's you would know after 3, 4, maybe even 5 conversations, you would know if this is somebody that you're compatible with, or you would even want to spend that kind of time with. I mean, at least for me. Again, most of the stuff I talk about really is based on
Sometimes you
experience.
can tell from the first conversation, like
Right,
if it's a conversation that
right,
flows, like sometimes when
right.
you meet somebody and you just zen with them, like it's just a zen, it's just a vibe that you guys vibe on so many different levels. The conversation has no, it's respectful, it's enjoyable, it's fulfilling, it feeds your soul. But when you meet somebody and you feel like they're drawing from you and they're pulling from you and they're just making you just snatching your energy, and they got soul snatchers in a good way, but you got somebody that just sucking the energy out of you, and you be like, oh God, I can't do this. I meet somebody like that the other day, and I was like, I can't do this. I can't talk to this person. I cannot even think about talking to this person because they're just so draining. So
I mean,
from the jump, this ain't a
that's-
conversation we're gonna be having ever again.
Yeah, but I think, and again, I think sometimes our eagerness to want a relationship, sometimes we jump over that. Um, yeah, I remember when oh God, I wasn't going to talk about me, but anyhow, I remember when I met someone, and it was like we literally knew each other, I'd say like a month and a half or something, and it was like, you want us to make this official? And I'm now looking back in retrospect, you really, I was telling last night when we were talking with RJ, I was saying, when you think about like when you were younger and you met someone, you usually was somebody you went to school with, you were in class with, that was your cousin's friend, that was somebody, right? So you had time to get to know this person, to see this person in the world, to be around this person without thinking about a relationship, and then it evolved into a relationship. But I think like at this point, like when people have had relationships and or they're desperate for a relationship, they jump over that whole friendship companionship component. And so again, it's that work people don't want to put into it. They just want, they don't, well, let me not say that, because one of the questions that Cece said, is it that the issue really that people don't want to, how did he say it, they don't really want to work? Is it really about the work or the commitment? But I think it's really about carrying around the weight of past hurt. At the end of the day, why relationships seem to be so taboo, and it's easier to say, I just want a companion to hang out with, whatever. And then we give it all these different labels. But at the end of the day, like research shows, and Dr. Reynolds, talked about that, as humans, the relationship we form with other people are vital to our mental and emotional well-being, and even our survival. And so at the end of the day, like, is it that we're saying because it's what you're affirming every day? Is it that you're saying you want a companion? So that's what you're getting. And that's why you're getting all these broken people, because maybe they were just meant to, hey, let's go and see a movie. Hey, and then it somehow evolves into a relationship. But if you were speaking into the universe that you want a healthy relationship, that is the direction and the trajectory of which you're going to go, because I know so many people that initially they might say, oh, I want a relationship. Oh, I want to get married. Then they get hot. And then they're like, no, I just want somebody to kick it with. I just want somebody to hang with. And that's who's showing up.
And it's just a conversation. It's just something that you need to have. Like, you meet somebody, but first you have to come to that solid conclusion for yourself. We walk around with this, I ain't getting into this love game. I ain't doing this. I ain't going in a next relationship ever again. I done with relationships. But you haven't even determined why. I think something that I'm learning is determining the why. What's the why factor? Why do you feel this way? And if that's how you feel, and you can provide enough evidence to support your decision, it's okay, because it's your decision. But it's not influenced from anything else other than the conclusion that you have drawn upon based on the work you've done with self. Because half the times these decision or conclusion we come up with is because of some unresolved issue. Like, you got hurt. Yes. What was the lesson? Like, What was the red flags that we didn't see? Like sometimes they're red flags. They got red flags and you could chop your white flag. Like, if it's something that if this person has too many red flags, did you bypass this red flag because you so wanted to be into a relationship that you figure, once we get involved, no. If it's something that you haven't had this conversation from the beginning, that you're both on the same playing field. I know stuff happen and you meet people and you're not in the market to looking for nobody, and then you end up enjoying that person so much that you both concluded, hey, let me do this. But I think a lot of people are not doing their work and holding themselves accountable, because every relationship has two people or more, but every relationship needs to have an accountability. Like, what role did you play? Because sometimes we see the flags and we like, oh no, because you so want this relationship, you so want to be with somebody that, you end up.
Did you just say relationship have two people or more? Did you say that?
Sometimes we have more than two people.
Okay, I just want to be sure. Okay.
Let me
Go ahead.
Let me just read some of the, because we have a lot of comments. Ranchi said, growth in life cannot be done alone these days. From house to business, you need someone to have these things with. You read the thing from Karita. Cece said, companionships tend to not have an exclusivity clause. People need to keep that in mind. Randy said, scared of investing themselves. One of the big reasons we continue to redefine relationships is because we know the impossible task of attempting to be everything for another. Too many labels, just let it flow. Let me just, Ranchi said, people are selfish. We want the relationship, but don't want to respect the fact that change is a must. Not change as a person, but change in behavior. And that's another thing. Like, I think people have to really, really say to themselves, people are going to let you down. So for you to want the perfect relationship when you yourself are not perfect, you might invest in something. Some investments go bad. You know what I'm saying? People are willing to do that with finances, but they're not willing to do that with their heart, because they're thinking they're going to lose instead of thinking, no, I might win, and I might win big. And so I think it's like to think like every bad relationship that you've had means that that's all you're going to find. I think that's because that's all you're focusing on. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't mean that a relationship is not going to have its ups and downs. It just has to be a situation where two people are willing to work to make it work, to invest in it. You know what I'm saying? And do all the things that you need to do to keep it healthy, because it's not going to just happen and be healthy. You have to work to make it healthy.
You got to put in that work. One thing I want to share is I learned this in therapy, that when we suppress things, no matter how big or small with it, it goes someplace and it shows up someplace else. So we go through a relationship, stuff happen, we don't deal with it, and we say, okay, forget about it. Because we haven't dealt with it, we suppress that. But it's going to show up someplace else. Whether it shows up in work, whether it shows up in kids, whether it shows up in 10 relationships or the second or third relationship down the line, it always evolves someplace else, because we never properly buried it. We never properly dealt with it. Every relationship has its issue, but did you deal with the role that you played? Like, you continuously forgive this man, and then you get mad that he taking advantage of you. But you forgave him for the first, the second, the third, the fifth, the fourth time. What makes you think the 10th time will be any different than the third time?
Exactly.
You played that role. You allowed this to happen to you. But when we suppress stuff and we don't deal with it, and we say we're moving on, it's because there's nothing wrong with moving on. But what did you do? What you do with those feelings? When did you pack those back? And we walk around with these baggage, and they get heavy, and they show up in other places in our life.
Should we mute them? Something is really making a distracting noise. Janos, mute and see.
It's Janos' own. Unmute yours, unmute yours. It's Janos' own. Unmute yours, Pinky. Okay, Janos, unmute yours.
Unmute it. You want to come on and go back in?
Give me a second.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's something that I learned because I'm guilty of doing that. Stuff happened and I was like, okay, it happened, I'm done with it, and I suppress it. And it shows up someplace else. It may not show up in a relationship with the next person, but it shows up in a relationship with my kids or at work or in my health or in my just everyday life. Like it shows up someplace else, whether it's your insecurities, whether it's your anxiety, whether it's your depression, it shows up someplace else. And we walk around with all these baggages. Some people walk around with the intention that the next person is going to bring harmony to them. No one can bring something to something that doesn't exist. It has to exist. They have to even have a little speckle of it. It has to exist. So when we're looking for these companionship, we have to make sure, like you said, we have to be able to show up with what we are looking for and not show up with what we want.
Right. Correct.
So
one of the things I wanted to ask is, what do you think you are teaching your children, your nieces, your nephews about being in a relationship versus just having a companion? And again, it's not just in what you say,
what you do.
but in what you do.
I would say for me, as a single parent of 2 daughters, as much as I would preach, don't do this life by yourself, find somebody that you can travel this journey with, I didn't lead by example. I did it by myself. I worked the multiple jobs. I went to school. I had a guilt trip that I just realized that I carried the guilt that I never taught my kids how to have fun. Like I didn't teach my kids how to balance fun. And some people may think it's simple, but it's true. All I taught them to do was to work hard, go to school, and become somebody great that can take care of themselves. And there's a balance in life. No matter how you look at it, there's a work-life balance. You should have fun and you should work for it. There's a balance. Everything has a checks and balance, but I didn't teach them that. Inadvertently, I taught them how to work their butt off, to educate themselves, and to be good people, be good citizens. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I didn't teach them, which even though I told them, you should find somebody that you can love and love you and respect, even though I spoke it, I didn't have a relationship because I didn't have time for it, So I didn't lead by example. I didn't even display it. I just figured what they had around them. My sisters all had relationships and they were pretty much healthy. That was enough example for them. And if I fail, they could Google it. Just kidding.
Let me just let Louis and RJ know. The question that I'm asking everyone is, what do you think you have taught or you are teaching your children or your nieces, nephews, any young people that are close to you about relationships versus having a companion, not only from what you say, but from your lifestyle?
So I wanted to let's see if I don't remember the question, but so when we look at relationships, we're looking at multiple relationships. We're looking at relationships we had with our parents, in our family, with relatives, with teachers. And we're looking at, depending on where you are in your walk, depending on where you are spiritually, we talk about healing. We talk about things are revealed to us through relationships. If we're not in a relationship, and I don't mean it has to be the romantic relationship that includes the connection, companionship, all of these relationships that we have, we are learning and we are growing. And that is the place where we are doing our healing if we are aware. Every relationship is not going to come and it's not going to be perfect, and we're not going to make the right choices. We're not going to always see the flags. No. And there are times when we need to not be in a relationship, because if you've been hot and if you've been through some stuff, you need to do some work. Cece, I always say you gotta be in the relationship to learn this, and I used to be like, Cece, nah. But it's in the relationship you do learn valuable lessons. in the broken relationships, and the one that was very devastating and break you to the point where you didn't want to have another relationship ever again. Been there multiple times. But what I've learned that in that time when I decided no relationship for me, that was where I needed to be because I needed that time to reflect on me. Now, the hard thing about relationship is it takes two to tango. It's two people doing this dance in life. It's not one. You could go in harmonious, you could go in honest, you could go in with a whole lot of attributes. But that don't mean the person is gonna be the same way. And yes, we do attract what's in us and that's broken in us, but also people are looking to get certain things from us. Like Karen said, if you're a peaceful person and somebody rah, 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 they want harmony because this wall is always looking for balance. This wall, our body sitting down right here, right now, is balancing itself out. And we ain't doing nothing about it. So the body, people, we're always looking for balance. And so that's why sometimes we don't attract certain relationships in our life. And yes, there are times when that brokenness inside of us, we do attract that also, but it's always in the process of learning, growing, and healing. So for me, I had to learn the hard lesson because when you're by yourself, and this is another thing why people choose situationships over relationships. When you're by yourself, a situationship, not much commitment, not much sacrifice. I could come in, I could come out, I could do. And we were talking about this last night, RJ, right? It's hard after you find balance, peace, and harmony within your own space, your house, your life, to then open that door, just swing it open and say, hey, come on in, come move in with me, let we live together, let we get married, because that's a serious commitment. You don't find a place where you balance, you could trust yourself. You don't necessarily know if you could trust another person. So these is things that, and years ago, it was just different because we were kids. When you were a kid, you didn't have some desires or whatever, because somebody mentioned some people are looking for a warm body. Some people are. That's what situationships come in, the situation ended up coming in there. Because some people, you're human, you got desires, right? So we have to be careful because we got to understand it's a dance. We always trying to keep something, anybody who's been in broken relationships, who've been in pain, who've been in suffering, it is not healthy to think, oh, let me just jump in the next one. If you went down the same path and every time you went down this path, you fall in a hole and you decide to go, hey, Raji, you decide to go down that same path and fall in that same hole, there is something definitely wrong there. And it's not the hole, it's you who going down the same path and dropping in the hole. What we teaching our children today? We're teaching our children a lot of things. Companionship, relationship, I mean, they are part of a hookup culture. We got to remember, we're not our children only teacher when they become a certain age. Our children are being influenced by TV, by social media, by friends. When we were growing up, we were just influenced by friends and our community. The community has multiplied exponentially these days. Our children are exposed to so much. Janos was talking about that last night. We had to read an encyclopedia to get information. All they got to do is Google it, and they got a whole bunch of information to their fingertips. So we are influencing our children, but I am here to tell you, I believe that the world is influencing our children on such a magnitude that we don't have much control. We don't have much control. How much of us who have grown children that raised our children a certain way, and then our children end up doing something totally different than what we raised them to do? We've seen it all the time. But then again, I had to learn that my children have their own journey, their own course. Now, I may not agree with a lot of things they do, but that's their life. That's for them to make decisions, because I did not follow the course my mother had for me either. But that's a part of youth. That's a part of growing up. Finding your path, walking your path, learning from your own mistakes. And so that's why I'm going to conclude mistakes. We don't make mistakes every single day. As parents and as a relationship, in companionship with friends, in relationship, whether it's the romantic platonic, whatever, we gonna make a gazillion and one mistakes. And I think we're afraid to make mistakes. And we have to.
I'm gonna. Sorry, Pinky, you finish. Go ahead.
I'm done. I think we're
So
afraid to
I
make
agree with a lot of
mistakes.
stuff that Pinky just said. And we talked about, we live in an information ready society as opposed to, yes, when we were growing up, we didn't have all the tools that exist. Um, but the one thing, I think, and I can only talk about my children, my life, my experience. I think for me, you want, as any parent naturally would want to protect their child naturally. So you want to be able to give them the necessary information, necessary tools, and you guide them, to try and go down a certain path. But they have to make mistakes. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to get that first heartbreak. That's going to happen. Everybody gonna go through that in life. You can't protect them at that point. They have to feel that to know what it's like to become better from that, to heal from that. That's going to happen. All you could do is be there for them as a parent. With my situation, of course, my I'm divorced, so that's it was different for my children. It still is. They're still dealing with that. But they see their grandparents, both their grandparents, that are still, for all these years, and they come from, on both sides of the family, strong family foundation. So they still have that support. I always instill in my sons the significance of treating women with respect and not pointing a hand at women and different things like that. I teach my daughter the same thing. I teach her how to be, treated and how she should be spoken to, different things like that. But we can only tell them those things when they go out on their own. We can't control what they're going to come up in front, what they're going to experience. So we can only give them information and tools that they can use as a guide to move forward and try to do right and try to, walk a certain path. But they are going to hit those walls. They are going to have those times when, you know, they're going to hit those bumps, and they need to be able to handle that. It's going to be rough, but how we can do as parents is be there for them and help them pick up the pieces and keep it moving again.
Cool. How about you, RJ?
Louis just summarized it perfectly for me. The only thing I would add is um, I talk to my daughter all the time about boys' relationship and what how we think as young men, what we are looking for at that age, and just so that she is aware of of the the I don't want to say issues, but just aware of how like guys or boys will try to trick you just to get the cookie. Um, they'll
Their
tell you,
immaturity, basically.
yeah, well, we all been there. Like I can say for myself, as a young man growing up, I wanted to necessarily into a woman per se, but I wanted to get to the goal, and the goal was
Get the cookie.
The cakes. Oh,
sex,
both
right?
cookies and cakes.
So I just explained to her like the, the types of
But do you think your words align with the way that
guys
you live?
there are out there, and I try to show her
Your
and treat her.
wait, your internet, like it's choppy. Like we're
My
hearing little
words
bits and
align
pieces.
with the way well, as an adult, as I think, can you hear
Okay, yeah, I can hear you better, I
me?
think.
Okay. Yeah. So like an adult and as a father. Now, when I say as an adult, I'm talking like post 30.
Right.
Um, um, I am living that life. I am trying to demonstrate to my child what a man is and how she's supposed to be treated and how a man is supposed to treat her. You know, and that's all I can do. You know, I talk
Right.
to her all the time and use me as an example of how to be treated.
That's
You know,
good.
we hang out. You know, we go to the beach. We um, go to dinner sometimes. You know, although she doesn't like, she's a teenager that don't want to be around her parent or parents. Um, I still try to that, show her that, hey, let's go out, let's have dinner, let's go to the beach and hang out, let's go for a walk, things like that. Just to get her to realize, okay, well, this is the example
Right.
that I she
That
should
you're
be looking
setting for
for.
her. Correct. Got it. I want to read Karita had said when I asked that question, no revolving door here. I date, but no one meets my girls until exclusivity. Plus, there are so many emotionally weak minded individuals who are seeking relationships for all the wrong reasons. My peace is my number one priority. It is my sacred space. I did my work. I will not allow anyone in my life that wants to cause stress.
She said that very well.
Yeah,
That's what we're. That's if yeah.
true.
I'm hearing some kind of talking in the background. Somebody got like a. Nobody hearing that?
I was hearing it. I'm not hearing
And
it.
to me, that's why companionship is very important because before exclusivity, you have to have that friendship or that companionship before you will bring somebody home. I mean, if you're friends, I mean, you could bring your friends home to my friend. My kids know my friends, so I'm not gonna be your friend if I got issues with you. But even if I got issues with you, my kids gonna know my friends. My kids are very involved in my life. So
But there's a
yeah.
difference between your friends and then dating somebody. That's totally different. That's two different people right there.
Yeah, but when I date it, I haven't dated much. Three
Oh,
times
okay.
to be
Okay.
exact. Could count on
Okay.
one hand. But
This is
even
recent?
even with dating, I've only been on 3 dates.
Recently?
No.
Oh, okay.
Since no. You just like trouble. Anyway,
We just want clarity. We just want clarity. Go ahead.
but even with dating, but my kids are older, right? So this is a whole and it all depends on where you are again, right? My kids is much older. So my kid, even if I dating somebody or I go on a date with somebody, I want my kids because I'm a single woman, right? I ain't going meeting people and I don't know nobody, don't know why they're who I going with. And I always want somebody to know because my as a family we take care of each other. So my sister gonna step in if like that little boat experience. My sister step in. She was like,
Let's talk about that.
my no, but my sister, my niece, they step in and they were like, no, my sister and my niece drove together, but my niece was like, I driving home with you, auntie, because we not gonna let you drive home by yourself. And my sister, when she sees something, she was like, okay, Pinky, I need to have a conversation. So she removed me from the situation a couple times, but the individual still follow. But so what I'm saying is, even if I am dating my kids, but my kids are older, my niece and my family, and we take care of each other. I'm not gonna be going on a date and my kids don't know who I'm going with, and but again, Miss Green, my kids is much older. My oldest son is 30, so that's a whole nother ballgame. Plus, I need my kids' opinion too. So, huh?
I said that's good stuff, Karita. Shout out to Karita. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
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 She also said, I'm still attempting to teach them to afford others the same love they want for themselves. This comes with the discipline of awareness and honesty grounded in authenticity. Also, again, have you all, okay, no, I'm going to ask that to the end. Um, again, you know how I always talk about intention, and like Karen says, doing that work. Um, and why counseling is important, whether you think you need it or not. It just gives you an opportunity to have a different perspective and think about things intentionally going forward, right? Um, but at the end of the day, like, is it really that hard to invest in a relationship? Knowing that they're going to come with bumps in the road.
Especially if you want it. If it's something that you
I
desire, something that you truly want, it's
Yep.
never work. You don't see it as work if it's something you want. It's almost like living in your purpose. When you get up
Yeah.
every day and you live in your purpose, there's no work in it. But when you see you have to work hard for something, like, you see what your end game is. But I don't think it's that difficult as it is. But when it's like, you going uphill and they coming downhill, then there's a battle. Then you have to really look at it and see what it really is, what it shows up as. But
Right. And again, too, if you're looking at it from a negative point of view, um, you're going to only see the negative in it, but at the end of the day, it's worth to me, I feel like it's worth making that investment. Um, so you're not having 50 companions. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. You still have to have companions in relationship. That person should be your companion. And then you have companions outside of that, based on hobbies that you're in, work related companions, people you just enjoy doing things with, you know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, like, I just think that we put up so much walls instead of fences. Is that what they say? About meeting people.
Walls instead of gates.
Yeah.
Gates have a
Okay. So it's like,
Gate
why?
gives you access.
Right.
perfect.
Why?
Perfect.
Why?
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, the people who've come into our lives that have not worked out, is it 100% their fault, or is it that we ignored
Let me
stuff
ask a, let
and
me
we
ask a question.
continue?
Let me ask a question. So you're going through all these different companionships and you find that one person that you want to build that relationship with. What do you do with the other people? Do you still keep them as companions, friends? What do you do?
To me,
What
to
what
me,
what
it
what
depends.
what do you do? What do you tell them?
What kind of companions are they?
Well, I don't know.
Companions.
That's what I'm saying. That's the question. I don't know. What you've been going through this search and you found that one person. So now obviously those get cut off. But what did you?
Well,
Were these?
I can tell you from me, like when I decided that I wanted to do the whole dating thing, the online thing, which is not for me. But anyhow, I met people that I'm still friends with. And so to me, they came in my life to be a friend and acquaintance. They check up on me ever so
Right,
often. They're not
right,
people that I'm going to be in a relationship with, but so they and we can have conversations on different levels with different,
right.
regarding different things. But um, to me, I wouldn't necessarily call them a companion because it's not like somebody that I'm hanging out with or doing anything with. It's just somebody that, ever so often we talk on the phone.
an associate.
They text, yeah, an associate or something. Because we
Mhm.
don't. So I don't know. I just feel like, to me, if you truly, your heart's desire is that you want a relationship and you're scared, then do the work to pay attention, so that when people come into your space, that you don't desire the relationship so much more than paying attention to the things that you are not aligned with. I'm not even gonna call them red flags. Um, because at the end of the day, it's sad that you're gonna allow other people to dictate or keep you stuck. Pinky knows I like to use that word. Keep you stuck. And they don't move on with their life or enjoying their life, and you stuck, you know? So I just think that we have to
Well,
just be careful, because I
well,
hear so
well,
many people at this stage in our life saying, I just want I just want a friend. And I've said it. I just want a friend. I just want a companion, whatever. But you don't really want to invest in a relationship. But again, like Karen said, why? What's the real reason?
Well, the real reason could be 100 reasons,
Yeah.
right? Um, and it may not be a bad reason either, you know? And again, we have to be careful because people are at different levels, right? There is times when people need to be by themselves. There is time when people have to do their work. There is time where people have, if a person, we don't know what people been through. I was watching a video today, and the video was one of my favorite Twilight Zone shows. After Vincent died, just bench on Twilight Zone kind of were one of my favorites. Twilight Zone had some very good message. It had a message where people were wearing masks. One of my favorite Twilight Zone. Everybody were wearing masks. Once they take off the mask, their face has still look like the mask. We live in a society where we are not truly showing who we are. We don't know what people went through. All we could tell you is that, oh, I had a divorce, or I this. People ain't telling you. You don't know what people went through. So some people who are broken and can't move on, me being one of them. I will speak only for myself.
And we have some people who haven't done the work, like Miss Green said. Like for me, I'm doing the work, and I've learned so much in this process. Like something that I thought was so simple, I realized that was my wall. And I didn't see it as a wall. I saw it as a foundation, like a pedestal, but it was actually a wall. But when you put in that level of work, when you get to that point, there's no way in hell you're gonna risk that or let nobody come and penetrate that level of peace that you work. Because when you start putting into the work to find out why you's a mess, why you unhappy, why you depressed, why you sad, and you truly understand the whys, then you will know how to fix the whys, and you will know how to get to the level of attainability. Then you
But
won't
it's so
anything.
much layers to the whys. And that's what I learned. Because
But you
I
have to
learned
put in
that
the work. You have to put in the work. Like if you put in the work into yourself, it's going to show up. It's going to show up as the result of the work that you put in. But if you're putting in the work and you sit on identifying what the problem is, but you're not trying to fix it, it's going to show up as the problem. It's going to be unfixed. And for me, like she said, when you put in that kind of work, you won't let nobody come in there and just, come in there with their nonsense. They're going to come correct. And it's not like
but I wanted to add this because Miss Green said this also. I don't want to say your first name wrong because I'm capable of
Farida.
that.
Farida.
yeah, I say Miss Green because I can't do the first name.
Pinky done messed stuff up. Okay. I want to say this. There, and she said it. There are people out here that prey on broken people. There are people out here that's looking for people to either pay their bills, buy their food for them. And me and Tyree had this little conversation yesterday because I was like, Tyree, you acting like they're in danger, people, dangerous. There is, and so we have to be careful. We can't just be a revolving door for all
These
kind of
vultures and soul
energies.
snatchers.
Yes, for and perfect words, soul such as soul snatchers. You can't just be letting all kind of people with all kind of issues, because if you're doing your work and you got all kind of people bringing their other issues into your life, that will set you back.
It is.
That will put you back in another place, because in just one broken relationship I come out of, or one messed up relationship, I went from one messed up relationship with years of not being in a relationship. I ended up in another situation that was terrible. But what I just saying is that at the end of the day, I needed some valuable lessons. I learned some valuable lessons in each and every one of them situations that now I could look back and I could say, thank you. Thank you, because the lessons needed to be learned.
True. One of, and this is kind of like off topic, but I just wanted to remind everybody that on May 29th, I meant to say it in the beginning. On May 29th, we're doing Painting with a Purpose. And it will be our first official face-to-face with love and enlightenment. I mean, we've been going almost 2 years, and we've done this all virtually. So definitely get your spot. We're gonna have great conversation while we're painting, creating our masterpiece under the how do you say it, tutelage of Lucien. And Bon Manger is opening their doors to us to have this, and it will
Can we
be.
do it virtually?
I'm working on that. Um, um, we are going to have appetizers and a complimentary drink included in your ticket price. And since it's Juki Jam Sunday, we're going to have some great music playing while creating our masterpieces. So definitely invite your friends and family and reach out to us to get your spot. And we're going to have a good time. I'm going to have some little, I might have like a one or two giveaways. Um, so come on out. It's going to be at 5:30 p.m. at Bon Manger in Cyan Farm. But
Look up for the Houston and the St. Martin edition of that too.
yeah, that will be up and coming. I mean, we're going to be living in COVID, so we just have to figure out a way to do these things as safe as possible, and we will have COVID protocols in place. But who's saying good night? But before we end this, let me ask you a question now. Do you think, still believe, because again, it's intention, do you want or prefer a companion, or is your heart's desire to truly have a healthy relationship? Why you look away, Louis?
Repeat the question again.
The question is, now that we've had this conversation, do you truly just want a companion, or are you willing to invest, and is your heart's desire to have a relationship?
How about in
Anybody want
between?
to go first?
RJ, you barely talk tonight.
Well, he just talked.
What was his response? What is that, Ralph? What is that?
What about in between?
Yeah, you're honest, and that's
but
a
in
good
between,
thing.
I mean, I guess I've been jaded. I've had, well, every single one of my relationships has failed. I'm single, but I sometimes I feel it's too much work um, for relationships.
Okay,
And
wait. Let me stop you 1 second.
Yeah.
But you don't think a companionship could also be work too? It could be frustrating because
I
this,
mean, yeah, but
this is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, I guess it could be, but I mean, you both have similar goals in that you are, okay, you're just going to hang out, you're going on a trip somewhere, or you have like um, similar interests,
Right.
and so because of those interests, it's not as complicated to say that I'm just gonna say it like that. It's not as complicated. And for me personally, sometimes I just don't want to have to deal with where you're going, who you're there with, like who's gonna be there. Like I am way beyond that, and I can't deal with people's insecurities. So I just don't.
So it's because of people's insecurities. That's the only reason you're saying that. But if somebody were to show up as a companion and not bring those kinds of problems, issues,
Then
concerns.
I'm golden. That's
Okay.
golden for me.
Okay.
But you know, I have a lot of female friends and that are just friends, platonic friends. But I've had situations where like the person I was dating had issues with my friends, and it makes it more complicated than or I don't know if I'm saying the right word, like complicated, but it makes it more challenging, to have to deal with someone like that because they haven't dealt with their issues as far as their previous relationships. They haven't dealt with being cheated on. They haven't dealt with things when they meet someone like me. I don't cheat, but I do have female friends that are just friends,
Right.
and I'm not gonna cut my friends off because you have a problem and thinking that I'm doing something with my friend.
Right.
I'm
They're
just not
bringing
gonna
their
do that.
issues.
So,
I get it. I get
Yeah,
it. So for you, it's the in between. It's the companion
yeah, yeah,
with some benefits, possibly.
yeah.
How about you?
Possibly.
Okay. How about you, Karen?
Well, I have discovered that I truly do desire to have a relationship. Um, but I want that
So not
person.
the Monday, Wednesday, Friday, every other
How
Saturday.
many online attempts did it take for you to realize?
It, it took
No.
actually it took therapy. It took me getting into therapy
Okay.
for the
Amen.
I
past.
thought the online thing was therapeutic at some kind
I'm
of
not
level.
saying it's not therapeutic. It's a form of therapy because remember therapy, they have retail therapy, they have water therapy, they have all kind of therapy.
Of
But
course.
it actually, on a serious note, it took me going through therapy to discover a lot of things about me. And one of the things that I was able to discover is that my desire is to have a relationship. I'm not saying that I don't ever want to be in a relationship, but what I lived through and what I wanted was not in alignment with each other.
Right.
Because this is what I knew. This is all I knew. But I was looking for something different. And because it didn't show up how I wanted it to show up, based on what I knew, I was still not in alignment. So, but that doesn't mean I don't want a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I still would prefer someone.
RJ laughing, but that's basically what he's saying too. So don't even okay. So
I,
you
I,
just
That's
don't
why
be
I'm
pretending
laughing.
like you ain't down for the Monday, Wednesday, and every other weekend.
That's
I
that's
still would prefer to
that's
have
why
not have
I'm
somebody.
laughing
Huh?
because
Oh, okay,
that's what
okay,
I'm down for.
Yeah, I still would
okay.
prefer not to have somebody in my every single waking moment space because I am not used to it. I still
Right.
love my space.
Right.
I still
Yeah,
love that separation and that excitement of seeing that person Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and every other weekend. I'm not saying I would stray away from that, but my ultimate goal is to have a relationship with somebody and a companionship where I would want to see you every day.
Right.
I want that. I want to ultimately get that. But I know I had to do my work. There's some
Right.
discoveries about myself I had to find out. And I did. And I'm still going through it. It's not a destination, it's a journey. But
Hallelujah.
even in that journey, I still enjoy like friendships, like meeting different people. The online dating scene, yes, I enjoy it because it's entertaining. It's entertainment. It's nothing but that. It's entertainment. But my ultimate goal is to find a relationship where that I can even put up with that person for that length of time. I still can't fathom the thought of seeing somebody every single day, and that may take a lifetime worth of therapy. I'm willing to do it. Therapy.
But you know what I think, Karen, though? I think with that, cause when you first said that, it caused like everybody laugh, right? And then it just keep playing in my mind because when I opened myself to the concept, right? I was dealing with long distance relationship. I won't my friend said, but Pinky, why you don't find somebody in Houston? And I was like, no, ain't ready for that. And I remember what you said and what it was that you said. I was like, you see, but I think we first have to take them steps. It's
And I
baby
think
steps.
gradually I'm going to get there. I
Right.
ultimately think gradually I'm going to get to a point where I really and truly desire to be with this person with every day, but it's not something I want to just jump into it like a
Yeah,
pilot.
because you ain't meet that person yet.
I haven't, and I'm not saying I'm not close to it. I'm not saying it's not going to happen.
Right.
But what I'm saying for me personally, it took work to get there, and it's something
Right.
I may have to. And I, when people say, "Here, you get in therapy," it's almost like, "What wrong with you?" Nothing's wrong with me, but I know there's issues that I need to face, and I may not have the skill set to face it.
Yes.
Right.
So that's why I decided to do that, because no matter how big or small your work is, it is still your work, and you're still accountable for putting in that work. I know
Right.
what my end goal is. My end goal is to
Absolutely.
have a relationship and a companionship with somebody that I can see and be with every single day. I ain't there yet.
Yeah, because you ain't meet that person yet.
I
But
meet
when
that
you,
person yet. Oh, I haven't built that harmonious relationship yet. But for now, I could stick to every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and every other weekend. I could.
for me, it didn't sound like that.
Yes.
But when I really analyzed what I was like, no, long distance is fine because they put space. It
And
gives
that
me
adrenaline, though, I
time.
like that. I like that adrenaline you don't get when you're getting to see this person, and I like that. I like that rush. I think
Yeah,
I.
but for me it wasn't. Well, I haven't gotten to that point yet, but for me it was this space that allowed me to figure out if this is the person that I want to invest in. I
That's
need that
exactly.
space and I need the time because if somebody live and then you know they want, you see, every time I talk about it, I start to stammer. They want to see you every day, like, but again, have I met that person yet? No. So, and RJ, I think it's the same thing. Like, if you meet the person, if we meet the person that we could trust, that will show up and not make demands or try to control us by saying, you can't have no more friends, or I don't know, something they might tell me. I don't know what they're going to tell me, but, then you would want to invest in that person, put more time into that person. But where the position we're in right now, we can't say that. Like, because we do have I have my space, my peace, my harmony here, and I am not. And then, like Miss Green says, I put in a lot of work to get to this point. I made a lot of sacrifices to get to this point. So I don't want nothing to come in and just disrupt all the work that I don't put in. We have to be on one accord and we have to want similar things. If we don't want similar things, so for me, companionship is okay for now until I find that person. I need the companionship first before I can move into any other realm. I'm not going to say like I did before when I got into trouble. Oh, you like me, I like you. Well, then let we start talking and let we start. Then the next thing you know, we get in a relationship, and then because when you're a companionship, there's certain things you're not going to do. You don't talk about with this person, whatever. But when you're there in a romantic relationship, that the relationship done gone into another level. So if I just meet somebody, I'm not gonna do that like I did before because that wasn't wise. I gotta see if I could be your friend. I have to know if me and you are compatible, and then I can move into other areas.
Cool. Ranchi, you want to talk quickly? Because I know you in and out.
Yeah, well, let me jump in there quick. Bye. Good night.
Good night.
And I
I
Ranchi.
I would say well, I would say like I would need to have be in a relationship. Companionship is cool when you're in the downtime. You're not trying to find yourself or whatever. But I respect life that it is a journey and you have to face it or whatever comes. And a relationship is a journey. You can't do that by yourself. You can't live life by yourself just in your cubby in your living room because you're afraid of what outside there. You have to live life. You have to face your fears. You have to go there. You're going to get hurt. Life is not how to say a game on easy mode. Life is hard mode all day, every day. And that's what makes it fun. And after years to pass, you can actually look back on it and be like, we went through stuff together. And that's what And for me, that's what love is. You know, like that relationship, you have to go through life together. You have to experience, argue, arguing, yes. You have to fight, yes. You have to get
But
upset some
I think
days.
you could find that too in companionship, Ranchi. You don't think so?
Yeah, but no, but in companionship, you have no reason to be, how to say, to argue with somebody. In companionship, is your words, it's your feeling. You don't care about what nobody else feel, because you could terminate it at that moment. You have no commitment to that person. You have no reason to argue with this person. But when you're in a relationship, that's different. The levels are different. So you're more, to say, tied to this person. You have to respect the words that come out this person's mouth.
Yeah, true, true.
Um,
How about you, Louis?
I pretty much I agree with Raji. I am for the idea of wanting to be in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship. I am for that. I am for transparency, loyalty, and honesty. I am for taking the time and
I'm so
invest,
sorry.
investing and building in someone. I like that process. Dr. Reynolds said it. We as humans naturally crave companionship. We are designed to be with someone. We're not designed to be alone. And so, I am definitely for being that extra step in going forward and working towards a relationship. I just love being with someone and caring. That's naturally.
Well, um, it is that hour, and I too believe that I want a relationship because I just feel like that's just what we're supposed to be in. People are going to let you down. People are not going to always show up the way that they need to show up. You're not going to do it either. But I just feel like if you can work at it, the reward and the payoff is worth it. And so I'm for a relationship. Companionship, like is when you're working on yourself, you're still trying to figure things out. But I think the ultimate goal for me would be a relationship. So, in saying that, thank you all for joining us once again in these conversations. Louis will definitely have Ranchi Louis had come on and said that he was told that people enjoyed the fun show that we did last week. So we will definitely do some more of that coming up soon. Come up with more questions and answers and fun things, and maybe even get some new people on. Maybe RJ, you'll come on one of those shows. Um,
Sound cool.
um, it was fun. It was fun. So I want to thank everybody. Thank you, Karen, as always. Thank you, RJ. Thank you, Ranchi, Louis, Pinky. Um, I want everybody to please stay safe, and we will see you back here next week.
Thank you, everyone. Like Debbie said, and as always, wishing you good things, great things, and beautiful things.
Buenas
Good night.
noches.
Good